my sweet friends, welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you are all well. Got a fun project planned today. We're going to make a very easy loaded pocket, and there is lots of room in here for all kinds of inserts. I have added some that are folded. I'm going to use a combination of pattern papers from a paper pad I picked up from the Joann sale, along with some printables from my shop. And this is so fast and easy to put together, and I think it is super versatile. You'll be able to use this for all kinds of different occasions and themes. So if that sounds good to you, then stick around and we will make it together. I'm going to be working with the Honey Blossom paper pad today, and I did pick this up from that closing sale for Joann's. And once again, like I shared in last week's video, I think it was 20% off, which does not seem to me like a really great bargain. I think it would have been better had I picked this up during one of their 40% off sales, or maybe when I had a coupon from the app, but I really do love it. And for today's project, we're not going to be using any of the bee specific patterns. And I'm going to pair it with the Sweet Spring Boho printable from my shop. Those do have a variety of specifically Easter and some that are spring images, and I'm going to use the spring specific images paired with this paper pad. When I'm going through these layers, it may seem like there are a lot of measurements, but some of them are going to carry over for these pockets. And so really, once we have the width down, the only difference is going to be how high it is, and I want to stagger my pockets so that I can have inserts that show from the front. And so we're going to use a pretty neutral gray. This is not going to be a matting border, as I often do. I want to eliminate one set of the measurements for this, and so I'm not starting with white and adding gray, and I think that helps to minimize a little bit of the supplies that we need, and definitely a lot of the time and extra measuring. So this is going to be 3 pockets. We're going to create them and then join them together and then add them to our base. So my first piece is going to be 5 inches high by 8 inches wide. It's scored at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5, 6.5, 7, and 7.5. And so that's going to give us a bit of an accordion there so that we can add some bulky layers on the inside. And I will be using my 2 glue combo throughout this process. I'm only going to mention it once though, because it will be for all of these pocket pages. And so let's go ahead and take the backing off of our double-sided tape, and then I'll add a little line of our Tombow. I'm adding that to the back side of this pocket, and this is going to wrap around our pattern paper so that we can secure that pocket in place. And so I have my pattern paper here cut for the back pocket, and so it's going to go down in size as we go from the back to the front. This one is going to be 6 high by 5 wide, and once again you'll notice that there aren't any bee specific patterns here, and these colors are really quite lovely. They're very soft, and I think they go very well with that boho theme. So I am going to set this right down into the corner. Because I'm right-handed, it is easier for me to work into the left score line. I press that right down in there, and you see how that lines up perfectly with the bottom. And so you want to do that so that this will be all the way closer to the base. Now, once that has stuck down, you'll have that double-sided tape. You can move over to this side. I'm just going to fold that over, try and be careful not to get my fingers in that glue, and then set that once again into that score. So I've got it positioned exactly where I want, and I'll fold that over, press it into place. You want to test fit this before you glue it, and then if there's any buckling at all, you do want to take a little tiny sliver off the side just so that it will fit flat. So this is going to count as our first pocket, and you can see I've already added my double-sided tape to the back, and we're going to use that to add it to the base. So let's work on that second pocket. This time it is 4 inches high by 8 inches wide. Here's that same scoring measurement: half, 1, 1.5, 6.5, 7, and 7.5. And we're going to repeat that process as we go throughout. And I am going to alternate my patterns for that. And so I have this beautiful kind of charcoal with those blush pink flowers, and that is going to not only be a nice difference in the color palette but also the scale, and so this is really going to read nicely for layering. Let's just go ahead and repeat that process as we did for the first one. The pattern paper for this pocket is going to be 5 high by 5 wide. We're down to the pocket that will show in front. So this is the shortest one. This one is 3 by 8, scored at half, 1, 1.5, 6.5, 7, and 7.5. One thing to note, that the bigger the scores are here along the sides, the less room you're really going to have to fill this in, because you want to keep all of these bulky items within the pocket and not going out into the accordion section. So this one is in place now. For the front of this pocket, I will be waiting to add my pattern paper because I want to wrap a little ribbon around that, and I'll explain why when we get to that point. But so now we can go back to that larger pocket, and this is going to be in the back, of course. So I have added my double-sided tape here, and I'll do my 2 glue combo. I just want to get that positioned right in that corner, bringing the edge and the bottom together so that I know I'm getting this on straight and even. Now remember, I said that we don't have a border of that gray cardstock showing in, so this is just going to go right to the edge of that gray cardstock, and now you can see how those are stacking up. We'll do the same for this last section as well. So now I have all of these pockets adhered together, and you will be noticing that there is no bottom on this, and we're going to wrap the base around this so that all of our inserts will stay nicely inside. But let's just fold this over, you see, and I have more of my double-sided tape. Here's where my base is going to come in. So I'm sticking with that gray cardstock, and I have this piece cut to be 9.5 high by 5 inches wide. I am going to add this to the back. by setting it up and folding it on that score line in the back, and then resting this into it so that I got it exactly centered right to left and right down into the back. And press that into place. Then I have my double-sided tape here on the front of that flap, and I will repeat the process of my 2 glues. And I'll flip that over and bring this cut edge into my score so that it is in there exactly right up along the edge. And folding that over, and I'll press it into place. And we're going to wind up having a 1/2 inch depth now, and that will be perfect for the amount of inserts that we want to add. So I am going to finish the back as well, and I just have more of that pretty pattern from what I used on the inside of the pocket. I'll put that down in the corner. Keep it even along the side and the bottom. Flip it over, and then I'll just tuck my hand into that back pocket to get that pressed into place. So you can see there will be a little bit of room here for these to fall forward. If you want to manage that a little bit, I would recommend adding just a little piece of trim. That way, once you have these loaded up, it won't be tempted to fall over. So let's add that, and I'll just tack that on with a little bit of my double-sided tape, and then it will be sealed in well when we add that pattern paper to the front. I have an image planned for this side, so I know I can hide a joined seam over there. So let's press this in to place. This time I'm going to utilize my hot glue just to join those pieces together. I don't want to press too much. I do want to have a room in those pockets for my inserts, but just enough so that it will maintain that shape. So now I have the front of this, and I'm going to alternate between the scale of the pattern and the palette so that it is definitely nice layering patterns. And so the front of this is going to be 3 high by 5 wide, and once again use that 2 glue combo. And remember, we don't have a border, so we can go right down into the corner and along the bottom. I'm going to press my hand down in there again, just so that I can make sure there's a good contact. If you want to hide that ribbon on the back, you could add that before the pattern. And you'll see now I have this cut, and I want to just remove that excess so that it's a nice clean edge. So we've got our base done now. So now here is another opportunity for me to incorporate some of those pretty printables. And I'm going to go through here and just tell you my cardstock measurement and my score line, because I have already created these, but you can see how beautifully those printables actually coordinate with this paper pad. And so I'm starting with a cardstock layer of 11 high by 4 wide and scored at 5.5. So that's just right in half. And then my pattern paper is going to be 5 3/8 by 3 7/8. And this is going to give me plenty of opportunity to add pictures and journaling so that I can use this as a sort of memory keeping scrapbook system. And then I did add my image to more of that gray cardstock, and I pop that up on foam spacer. So this is going to give me a little bit of dimension. And as we fill this in, I will show you, see, you do want to have your inserts measured so that they will fit between where those scores indent, so that there will be plenty of room to pull these in and out. You will have more room in these pockets for some additional keepsakes and mementos, so you're going to really be able to load this up. So the second insert, now remember we're going down for the height of the pocket, and so I want to do that as well with my insert. So this one is going to be 9 high by 4 wide and scored at 4.5. The pattern paper is 4 3/8 by 3 7/8. And so once again, I have that finished on the front and back. Put that in there. And for the last one, the image needs to be turned on its side, but it's not really going to show because I have some additional space here on that pocket. So it is going to be 7 high by 4 wide, scored at 3.5. And the pattern paper is going to be 3 3/8 by 3 7/8. And this one is going right in there along the side. And so now you can see those layers are all going to show when this is filled in. Want to add some final finishing details for the front. And of course, I'm going to start with a little doily here. And this is just going to give me a place to land my focal image. Breaks up a little bit of that paper pattern and gives it some more detail. And so for this image, I have fussy cut around the center section. And so this not only makes it a little bit more of a focal point, but it reduces the size so that I have room for my additional finishing details. And so I did put that on 110-pound cardstock so that it will be very sturdy, and then pop that up on a spacer as well. So let's just add this. I know it's not exactly a circle like that doily, but it will fill in that center section pretty well. And we've got that beautiful butterfly image, and I think those grays work really lovely together. I also have a flower arrangement. I created this with 2 of the magnolia flowers I pick up from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and I switched out the center for a stamen that would coordinate a little better. Just a little bit of die cut foliage here, netting and loopy twine bows, and then I've added a beautiful plaid ribbon that is in a soft gray. That is similar to what we have on the side, so that it all coordinates nicely. I'm going to add this with my hot glue. That just kind of helps to fill in that corner. I think you could easily switch out this paper and image collection and really have any theme work for this design. Because we have butterflies, I'm picking butterflies as my charms here, and I'm going to add this to the side using my hot glue and some string. The cut string with a button. I did bring some sequins down. I just want to place them on and see if it's too much details for the front. I don't want to overcrowd this. And so let's just kind of distribute these around and see if we can find a place for them. I might be putting too much on, but let's see once we get 3 of them in place. Usually I add 1 to the image and 2 to the base, but I don't have that much base left showing. So yeah, I think we can do that. Let's just go ahead and add these with our Tombow. And so we have had a bit of a false spring here in Michigan, Southeast Michigan, and it has been quite lovely and sunny, warm enough to sit out and have a sunshine coffee break. And so I have enjoyed that, but unfortunately our weather is Michigan winter fighting back, and so we're going to get back into the cold. I really wish that I could spend more time outside this time of year, but alas, it is what it is. Now you can let me know, what is your favorite outdoor activity when it is finally warm enough to go outside? I would have to say mine is obviously drinking coffee and reading on the patio, and oftentimes I fall asleep in the sun and have a little sunburn for my trouble, and that is what I have. So I just got that finished and I was rambling on and I noticed that my phone stopped recording. So I don't know how much of that I picked up. But anyway, let's just go on from here. And that is going to be our project for today. I sure do hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Remember to check in the description for links. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day. And I thank you so much for watching. Bye.